Hey YouTube, welcome to Beyond the Hype of the new season. So the PVPOKE rankings have updated. What we are going to do is we are going to go through the top 50 Pokemon. Some of them did not get new moves, but I'll just kind of talk about like why they've kind of moved up or down. I will go over the Pokemon that have new moves. So we'll go do the top 50, and then we will do anything below top 50. We'll just do like Pokemon that got significantly nerfed and why, or the Pokemon with new moves and why they're still below top 50 and if they're usable. So this is probably going to be a super long video. Strap in, kick back, hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and let's get into it. Okay, number one is Mandibuzz. There's nothing new about Mandibuzz's new set, Snarl, Dark Pulse, Air Release. It was already in the last season. I got last season here as well, just so you can see. It was ranked 3. Because Clodsire has now moved up. It's still ranked Sludge Bomb here. Mandibuzz just has overall coverage with this. There's a couple other Pokemon, because there's a couple new Pokemon with Psywave, right? Grumpig is at number 7 with Psywave. So now they're going to see more Psywave users up at the top, and Sableye up at the top with Buffed Foul Play and Dazzling Gleam. Mandibuzz is just an answer for what is now some of the top meta, and Dusclops got a rise too, right? So right off the bat, Mandibuzz is going to be able to take care of all these Psywave users, the Dark users, the Ghost users, Clodsire, just the grounds in general. So Mandibuzz, well worth a top pick as the Pokemon. Clodsire, one of Clodsire's biggest problems was Corsola, and it's gone now, right? So when you get rid of a Ghost and you bump up other Ghost Pokemon, when you lower one Ghost, it helps you. When you rise Ghost, it actually hurts you because poison is resisted. But again, it's spammy. Nothing got nerfed here. Poison Sting's still strong. Spammy with the Sludge Bomb. Earthquake is a nuke, so it's still got everything going for it. Lapras with Psywave, not surprising at all. I mentioned that Psywave Lapras is going to be a beast. Psywave is one of the best fast moves in the game. Now, it does not get Stab, but it still gets 4 energy and 3 damage per turn, which is a pretty nice combo. Lapras always had its stat product going for it: 104 attack, 113 defense, 179 stamina. But it was actually one of the Pokemon who in the season 1 of GBL was used because it was very strong. And now with Psywave, it is even better. Sparkling Aria is one of the fast moves. It is better than Surf, right? Because Surf got nerfed previously. So in terms of getting there, 45 energy, 96 damage with Stab. So a 2.13 damage per energy for quick, 12 and 11, right? Like that's spammy. And the second move set is Ice Beam at 14 for 55 for 108 for 196. So the only problem with this Pokemon is, if you can tell by the charge moves, you will have nothing for water Pokemon. Sparkling Aria and Ice Beam are both water and ice moves, which will be resisted by water Pokemon. So you'll have Psywave, which will chip, but other water Pokemon will cause you some problems. But I can see it won't be as hard hitting as like Feraligatr, like Shadow Feraligatr with the Hydro Cannon. But with Psywave and Sparkling Aria, I think it's going to play this very similar role of just being able to still put a lot of pressure on your opponents. If we look at do they not have the move? There it is. Versus the Great League, it now has a very nice 26 and 18 record with a 519 average. Not surprising, your electric and your grass are going to kill you, and your fighters, right? So you do have a few weaknesses there. But outside of that, you got some nice wins here against some of the main meta. Corsola, some of these new ground Pokemon rising because some moves got buffed. You beat Feraligatr, Mandibuzz, the fighters, even Annihilate you beat. Interesting. I guess you have Psywave, right? Which is a psychic move. And then just taking a lot of these waters out, a lot of the grounds we haven't even got to yet, fire ground. So really nice there. Lapras should be everywhere if you have not used it. Malamar. So Malamar, what changed with Malamar? Foul play has changed. As you can see, they are assuming 40 energy for 72 damage. So in the move update here, Foul play has said that it will decrease damage from 70 to 60, but also decrease the cost. So in this analysis here, they are assuming 60 damage, raw damage, for 40 energy, but you are dark, so you get same type attack bonus. 20% bonus on 60 is 12, so you get 72 damage for 40 energy. That's why it shows up there, 1.8. So now it's the same moveset of Superpower Foul Play, but now it's just a quicker move. So instead of going to 12, you can go to 10, which means that this thing is just spam city. You get a stab, a Psy Wave, which is a dominant move, with the Superpower, which was already what you're throwing 90% of the time, right? Because Superpower is a huge move. 40 for 85. It already did better than the previous move too, because Foul Play was 70 before. I guess with Stab maybe it was, no, Stab with 20% is still 84. So Superpower, raw damage and damage per energy was always better than Foul Play. So all you're getting here now is your bait move of Foul Play is the exact same as Superpower. That's the only thing that's changed, because a lot of times you didn't want a Superpower because it lowers your attack and defense. So you just went to the Foul Play and threw a 12-turn Foul Play. Now you're just throwing a 10-turn Foul Play. So that makes Malamar super, super useful. Your bait move of Foul Play is quicker, and you can still Superpower everything else. Sableye, Shadow Sableye. I love to see this. I love using Shadow Sableye. Sableye was one of my go-to, one of my 5 main Pokemon to go to. Why the Shadow? Because the Shadow Claw, I already mentioned that when you had Shadow Claw Foul Play, it only took 1 of Foul Play and Claws to go down here. Now, is that going to be the case with the damage going down? I don't think so. However, you are now getting to Foul Plays in 10, and before it was 12 and 14 and then 12. Let me just check this out on Sableye here. 12 is across the board. Okay, 12, 12, 10. So before it was 12, 12, 10 to get to his moves. So it was 12, 12, 10 and 100 damage. And now it is basically 10, 10, 10, 10. So you're getting to the first and second Foul Play 1 quicker, and it's 86 versus 100. So that is significant. However, your second move is now Dazzling Gleam. And the Dazzling Gleam you get to in 14 for 108 damage. Now, as you can see, it is slightly more energy than Power Gem, but slightly more damage. So the damage per energy is actually less, and it is a 1 extra move. I'm actually surprised. So why is, I guess it's just based on what the meta is. Because look at your top meta Pokemon, right? Mandibuzz, Malamar. What's Grumpig? Does it have fighting? No, just Psychic. Which you should beat anyways. But there's like a ton of ground, right? But I would probably still go. Honestly, I'm actually kind of surprised that it is recommending Dazzling Gleam on Sableye. Let me just run it with Power Gem and see what the differences are, because I think it's going to be inconsequential. So 25 and 20 with Dazzling Gleam, and Power Gen. So 25 and 20 with a 523, 26 and 18 with a 533. I don't know. I honestly don't know why it's recommending Power Gem. I don't think that's right. And this is why I don't believe it's right. You got to look at two things when you're doing this analysis. I guess 3 things. The raw damage difference is minimal, 102 versus 108. So now it comes down to, when can you throw the moves? Power Gem, you can throw 1 sooner on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That right there is actually quite significant. Get 1 claw less for 3 times makes Power Gem already, my books, much better. The damage per energy is better, and then it will come down to your coverage. So, I mean, Power Gem and Dazzling Gleam will both hit super effective on Mandibuzz, so that's fine. Yes, you'll have Malamar, which you can hit super effective, so that's fine. Clodsire will resist both. Again, Lapras is worse to rock, so you'd want it for Lapras. Most of these others, you're probably just throwing Foul Play. Maybe you want to throw maybe you're now throwing Dazzling Gleam at Diggersby, but that's probably a bad matchup with the Claws anyways. So honestly, I'm not sold on Dazzling Gleam. I think you're probably just going to be running the Power Gem instead. Okay, 5 down. A lot to go. Corsola just got nerfed. Nightshade got nerfed. The damage is lowered. So, the thing is, the damage is lower, but the 5-4-5-4 remains. It still has good with stabs, still 1.87, still has the bulk, still has Astonish, still has coverage move and power gem. So it does get a bit of a nerf, and there are more darks above, so that moves it down the rankings a bit. But it should otherwise still perform like normal. Grumpig, 2 buffs here. So this is a brand new Pokemon, so we need to look at everything of the stats here. Psywave and Dynamic Punch both got buffed. Sorry, no. Dynamic Punch got buffed, but Psywave is the new move on Grumpig. I think Dynamic Punch is the new move on it too. So it is a Psychic Pokemon for starters. So right off the bat, as a Psychic Pokemon with Psywave, you get Stab on it. Let's look at its stat product. Its stat product is actually not bad already. 114, 128, 133 for 1954 overall. Like, that's above Quagsire range. Like, this is a pretty decent stat product overall. So stat product is nice. Typing Psychic, I don't love it. You're weak to Ghost, Dark, and Bug, and there's a lot of Ghost and Dark in this meta right now. So for me personally, being the Psychic typing is the worst thing you have for this Pokemon. You do get Stab on Psywave though, so Psywave is one of the best fast moves in the game. So you get that energy and damage combo, especially with Stab. And then you have 2 moves, Dynamic Punch and Shadow Ball. Yeah. So Dynamic Punch, because they lowered the energy, it's 2 damage per energy, 45 for 90, with counts of 12 and 11, so fast to get to. So between the Psywave damage and then the Dynamic Punch damage, you can combo that right there. And then if you go a little bit more, Shadow Ball for coverage, like a nice cover. Again, you don't get Stab on this, so that's the only sort of drawback, but it's a nice coverage move. So I definitely think this Pokemon will be strong, solely because its stat product is nice and the Psywave Dynamic Punch combo is going to be nice. We'll see how it plays out with you're weak to Mandibuzz, you're weak to Malamar, you're weak to Sableye, you're weak to Corsola, you're weak to Dusclops, you're weak to Dusknoir, right? Like, there's a lot of the top meta that is going to beat you. So let's go into Dusclops. What happened with Dusclops? Hex happened. Hex got buffed. So Dusclops already had a very, very weird stat product. A nice one. Just when you see like an extremely high defense and low stamina, it's just like a weird combo. But 2100 overall, low attack, super, almost 200 defense. So bulky and spammy now. Hex receiving this buff. So 2.8 damage per turn with Stab. 4.33 energy per turn. I kind of did that math off the top of my head right in the video yesterday. And with it, Shadow Punch for 35 energy move, 1.89 damage per energy. So quick, 9996. Holy smokes. So those Shadow Punches are going to fly. And then Ice Punch for coverage. You're going to need coverage. So I think this is where it's going to struggle against just like normal typings, because what makes this Pokemon so strong is you now have an insanely fast charging move in Hex that has more damage to it, and a spam city Shadow Punch that is just going to add up very quickly. And with an insanely high defense, you are going to be throwing like 3, 4, 5 Shadow Punches. So the problem is now when you have your only other move as a non-stab Ice Punch, 40 for 60, if your Shadow Punch is resisted on Dark or normal typing, this Pokemon is going to get walled real quick. And Dusknoir at least has Dynamic Punch to go with it, so we'll go Dusknoir because it's similar-ish. Higher attack, lower defense and stamina because it's just the evolved form. Has the Hex, has the Shadow Punch, but also now has Dynamic Punch for coverage 15 and 12. So at least Dynamic Punch gives you a little bit of coverage there, especially for your this is a nice coverage move. Dynamic Punch for your Dark and your normal type weaknesses. So personally, even though Dusclops is ranked higher, I think Dusknoir with Astonish and the Dynamic Punch will have more play than Dusclops, just given that I do not like that second Ice Punch as your second move there. Clodsire with Earthquake, we don't need to go over that. Diggersby with Scorching Sands. Fighters didn't get nerfed. Dynamic Punch got buffed. So I think if anything, I think Diggersby goes down a little bit because Dynamic Punch got buffed and is given to a couple Pokemon. So more fighter moves. At the same time, your rollout users got nerfed. So less rock fast moves, which means those are less, which means if there's less rollout users, there may be more flyers like Talonflame. And that's going to cause you a problem with your main moves being Fire Punch and Scorching Sands. So for that trifecta, I think Diggersby is a bit lower, but it's still very strong. And all these other Pokemon, I'm going to kind of skip Feraligatr and Morpeko because they are super top meta last season, super top meta this season. None of their moves are nerfed. It's just jockeying with some of these other moves. So I don't really need to go into those. Claydol gets a rock tomb. They finally made Claydol relevant. So the joke with Claydol is Claydol has gotten maybe like 9 buffs over 20 seasons. They've buffed the fast move, they've buffed charge moves, they've given it charge moves, they've buffed the charge moves they've given them, and they're buffing Rock Tomb again. So you have the Mud Slap, which was buffed. So you have a Mud Slap user, you have a Rock Tomb, which is now quicker to get to, and you have a Scorching Sands. So turns 15 for each. I mean, your stat product is nice. Really, really nice stat product, 102, 173, 121. Your typing, ground and psychic, that's a lot. Oh god, sorry for all the random noises. That's just a lot of freaking weaknesses in the main meta here. Bug, dark, ghost, grass, ice, water. That is the meta. So that is scary. You do double resist electric and single resist rock, psychic, poison, and fighting. But man, that's a lot of the meta that you're weak to. So I do not like the typing here. But it's got an insane bulk. It's got the Mud Slap, which is so strong, and then it's got Scorching Sands with stab for 96, and then non-stab Rock Tomb for coverage, and also 100% chance of lowering your opponent's attack. So we'll have to see. Again, it's Togetic Rose, some Waters Rose. I don't know. I'm still not sold on Claydol. As much as they tried to make this meta for the last 20 seasons. Don't get me wrong. Mud Slap, Scorching Sands, great. Rock Tomb buffed, great. Look at your weaknesses. You're weak to Mandibuzz. You're weak to Lapras. You're weak to Malamar. You're weak to Sableye, Corsola, Dusclops, Dusknoir, Feraligatr, right? Corviknight is going to resist your ground moves. You're weak to Jellicent. Togetic is going to resist your ground moves. You have a super effective rock move though, so I don't know. We'll have to see how this actually plays out. Corviknight, I think Corviknight was overranked as it was last time. I think more things are now hitting it neutral. Well, Psywaves are resisted, so with Psywave being resisted, that's not bad. But I think just more things are probably hitting it neutral with some of these dynamic punches and stuff. So Corviknight's just I've tried Corviknight multiple times now. I have not liked using it. Jellicent is back on the menu because Hex got buffed. So it was useless because all the Astonish users, but now you got a buffed Hex, which means you are spamming a stab surf at 12-9, 12-9. So these surfs are going to come real fast, and then Shadow Ball 15, 12, 12, 12 with stab. 4 weaknesses, again, Dark and Ghost up there, but so many resistances: double resist normal, double resist fighting, and single resist water, steel, poison, ice, fire, and bug. So nice resistances. So I can see Jellicent being like a go-to Pokemon. I think poor Drifloon, I think it got like a almost somewhat nerf because you now have Jellicent, Dusclops, Dusknoir, Sableye, and all these other Pokemon that are now better than Drifblim. So I think Drifblim, basically I would just put Jellicent in for Drifblim now. Togetic got multiple buffs here. It got a Psyshock buff, now 40 for 70, and it has a Dazzling Gleam buff, 55 for stab, 108. So with Fairy Wind, it's quick to get to these moves. Psyshock is just 10-8, 10-8, and 14 in straight 12s for Dazzling Gleam. What makes it kind of interesting is its typing, Flying Fairy. So double resisting 4 types: ground, fighting, dragon, and bug, and single resisting grass and dark. And there's a lot of dark now. Weak to 5 things: electric, ice, poison, rock, and steel. Stat product is decent. Yeah, pretty nice actually. 110, 149, 122. So kind of like to see that stat product. We'll see. We'll see how it plays. This is one of the Pokemon I'm unsure of. You know, pro is there are so many darks at the top of the meta right now, which is nice. And you still have the fighters out there, so that's nice too. I'm not sold on these charge moves. You know, 40 for 70 is not bad. And 55 for 108 is not bad. I don't know. I'm actually like completely unsure about this one. This is one I'm going to have to try out and let you know. Gastrodon, Pangoro. There's Weezing. So Gastrodon is still Gastrodon, Pangoro still Pangoro. Weezing at 21 here. Sludge. Sludge got buffed. So you had the Fair Wind fast move, and I Sludge was always damaged. It was always crap. But holy smokes, what are we assuming here, PVPOKE? So Sludge, they're giving it 70 power. Okay, so it's just straight power generation. So it's not even a... So Sludge is just straight 70. Is this the shadow version? Okay, that's why it looks so crazy. So it's buffed from 50 to 70. You get stab, same type attack bonus, and you get shadow bonus. So this looks crazy now because you get the same type attack bonus and the shadow bonus. So that old 50 damage added onto stab and shadow now becomes 100.8, which is 2.52 damage per energy for a 40 energy move, right? And it comes at you with 10-8, 10-8. This right here, this Sludge, is essentially what Crunch looks like on Drapion, Shadow Drapion, except it comes faster. It comes at 10-8, 10-8. So, and maybe even better in damage per energy. So definitely a huge upgrade. I even mentioned in the video yesterday how much of an upgrade this would be. It's saying what? Brutal Swing as the second move, 2 quick moves. Sludge just does so much damage. Why would you need Brutal Swing and not a nuke? Why would I run with Brutal Swing and not something harder hitting here? A coverage move? I mean, I can't dismiss being able to throw at 8, 8, 8, 8. My assumption is you're going to just throw Sludge constantly. And if you can't get to Sludge, just having a move you can throw is nice. I'm trying to think where Sludge would be resisted that Brutal Swing would be. So that's why you're not running Play Rough. Because if you're running Sludge, you're not running a Fairy move because then Steels resist both. What else Sludge is resisted by? Sludge will be resisted by poisons, and it will be resisted by Steels, and it will be resisted by ground. So I guess for those you want a fast move, and you can't run the Play Rough because then Steel kills you. So then you just go with an Overheat, and if you just run Sludge Overheat, you can only nuke certain things, so that'd be a little risky. So I guess it depends how you play. I guess Brutal Swing kind of makes sense. So anyways, Sludge looking like a fantastic stab shadow move there. Azumarill, Dusknoir. Yeah, so a lot of the older Pokemon, I don't think these Pokemon move too much. So let's look at, so we got like 23 to, again, Dusknoir and Lapras are new, but like your Primeapes, your Jumpluffs. Jumpluff is still recommending for the Shadow Aerial Ace, even though Acrobatics is buffed. But like Primeape, Machoke, Steelix, Credilli, I think they might not be exactly here in the old rankings, but they're probably aroundish here. Yeah, Jumpluff's here, Primeape's here, Steelix is here. So slight, like when it comes to this sort of stuff, this slight jockeying of 5 positions here, this is why I just kind of skip over these because they play somewhat similar, right? So Primeape, Machoke, Machoke gets buff Dynamic Punch, so it actually moves up the rankings. Steelix, Credilli, Carbink has finally moved down. So Carbink going down a bit. Ferret, here we go, 31. I knew Ferret was going to be interesting because it gets Sucker Punch, which is a fantastic... First of all, it's got nice stat product. Its typing is great because it's only 1 weakness in fighting and 1 resistance, and it's a Ghost, which just seems to be everywhere. You're now giving it an incredible fast move in Sucker Punch, 3.5 energy per turn and 4 damage per turn. You're giving it a Stab Swift, so you have a hard-hitting Sucker Punch at 4 damage per turn, still getting to a Stab 1.89 damage per energy, Swift 66 damage. So that combo there is fantastic. Or if Swift is resisted, you can just buff your attack with Trailblaze. Trailblaze, again, not a great damage per energy move, but at 14 and 12, being able to buff a Sucker Punch makes this Pokemon very, very scary. I definitely think that Ferret's going to have a lot of play, especially if you get to limited metas. Stunfisk was already up there, and then there is your Emolga double buffed with... so Emolga's stat product is not great, 127, 111, 123. It's a bit glassier, less bulky like it says. But Acrobatics and Discharge just got buffed. So Discharge 40 for 66, still not amazing, but it comes quick, 10-8, 10-8, so nice move there. But now an Acrobatics nuke at 132 at 14 and 12 is a nice there with the buff Thundershock. So I kind of knew Emolga would rise up the rankings. It should be... Morpeko's still extremely strong, but Emolga is definitely a top electric Pokemon. Annihilate, Guzzlord, Marowak. So Marowak down the board a bit here at 36. Where was it last time? Oh no, I guess it was 36 last time too. No, wait, where's the Shadow Marowak though? Because Shadow Marowak was 15. Where's Shadow Marowak here? Yeah, Shadow Marowak was 15 before, down to 36. And why is that the case? I think it could be a couple reasons. I think that, one, your rollout users are nerfed. So coming in to resist the rock is less likely. 2, I think that some water Pokemon got buffed, right? You now have Lapras at number 3. So I think that stuff like that, Jellicent got buffed at 17, right? So you have a couple water Pokemon that were buffed. So I think between those two, that's why your Shadow Marowak has dropped a bit. Golurk, 38. Wasn't it kind of around there? Well, I think it's the same reason as last time. So Golurk was 45. So it did get buffed with Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch is buffed. So that is why Golurk is slightly higher in the rankings here. But again, falls to the same issues of your week 2. Ghost, which is more Ghost. Water, there's more water. Less rollout users. A couple repeats here. It's interesting because even the non-Shadow Jumpluff at 42 is recommending Aerial Ace over Acrobatics. So that kind of surprises me. Golisopod with Aqua Jet at 46. So the problem with this Pokemon is that it had, not a problem, but it had Liquidation, 45 for 84 at 6656. You now have 40 for 84. So same damage, quicker energy, so better damage per energy coming in at straight 5s. So coming in quicker, but you give up the 30% chance of lowering your opponent's defense. But just being able to spam Aqua Jets will make this Pokemon pretty nice. So that is why it's moved up the rankings. Blastoise does roll up with roll out to 47. So rollout did get nerfed, but here's the thing. Rollout got nerfed. I was thinking about this after I put out the video yesterday. Rollout got nerfed, but the damage got nerfed, not the energy, right? So the rollout damage went from 8 to 7. But that doesn't matter too much when you're focusing on the energy generation. And that's what Blastoise is doing. It is focusing on that 4.33 energy generation because it's got Hydro Cannon. And whenever you have Hydro Cannon, Fire Blast, or Frenzy Plant, if you get a good fast move, your Pokemon becomes top meta. So now you're getting to these Hydros, Stab Hydros, 96 damage at 12,999. So it is coming at you basically like a Feraligatr or a Swampert now. So that is why it rises in the rankings. Its second move is recommending Skull Bash, which it takes 18 turns to get to. Now, Blastoise does have nice, pretty nicest stat product, 111, 140, 127. And then, of course, as a water, only weak to electric and grass, which is always a benefit. Water has such an advantage in the GBL. So, if you want a Hydro Cannon user, I still think Feraligatr is the best because you now, with like, what's the difference? Feraligatr has basically the same charge moves if you want Hydro Cannon, Ice Beam, except Shadow Claw is just better than Rollout. So that is why Feraligatr will still be the go-to. But if, in a remix, if Feraligatr is banned, Blastoise is a fantastic substitute. Okay, and then Toxapex. Again, Toxapex down, but that's fine. I hate Toxapex. Okay, let's look at other Pokemon on this list that have risen / fallen. Spiritomb with Rock Tomb. Let's look at the stat products on this thing. 121, 146, 104. Not bad. Not great. Sucker Punch. What is the typing? Dark Ghost. Dark Ghost, interesting typing. Only weak to Fairy, and then double resisting Psychic, Normal, Poison, and then single resisting Poison, Psychic, and Fighting. So I like that combo there. Rock Tomb got buffed because it's quicker to get to. But still, are you running Sneak or are you running the Shadow Ball here? You're still running Shadow Ball. So the problem with Sucker Punch is fantastic hard-hitting move, but it's slower, 3.5 energy per turn. And you're staying still Shadow Ball, so your quickest move is 16 and then 14/16 on the next one. That's a little slow for my liking. It's not bad, but for me, my guess is the stat product here does not help enough. It doesn't help you live long enough to get to these moves for it to matter, is my guess. Super hard hitting move. Definitely fast move pressure and shield pressure, 100%. Fast move pressure with the Sucker Punch damage. You have Shadow Ball, which is a nuke, and you get stab on it. 121 attack is like middle of the range, middle high of the range. So definitely a hard hitting Pokemon, but I don't know if how slow it is to get to the moves is going to help you. This is going to be one that I'm going to have to test out. Weezing, we've already gone over. The non-Shadow Sableye is still saying return. Interesting. Oh yeah, return's just a nuke, right? So I guess it's not that interesting. Superior Drapion down at 62. And I think it could be just because there's an increase in... I was going to say because there's an increase in ghosts, but you still have crunch. Nothing's changed on you. Nothing's changed on Drapion. Maybe there's more dark, but you resist dark. I think Drapion is one of those that like may play better than its rank. I don't know. We'll have to see. Drifblim is still 63 ranked, but again, with the other ones, I think that you'd run those. Still saying to run Fire Spin on Marowak. What else has been buffed here? Linoone with Swift. Yeah, Linoone has Shadow Claw and Swift. Shadow Claw, again, nice stat product. Yeah, 114, 112, 152. Shadow Claw, just non-stab, so it doesn't do amazing, but Stab Swift coming at 10-8, 10-8 is pretty nice. So that combo is pretty nice, and in normal typing, only weak to fighting is a pretty nice too. And you can buff your attack with Trailblaze. So Linoone should have some play in some limited metas. There. A9tails with Dazzling Gleam buff. Now only taking 14 turns to get to with the Powder Snow. And Psyshock was also buffed, so if you run Charm, it's still 21 to get to. So yeah, a little slow, but Powder Snow, it's definitely pretty quick to get to Dazzling Gleam now. 14 is not super quick, but better than it was before. So slight buff to Ninetales. Electivire, Gallade, Golurk, Whiscash, Runerigus. Runerigus with Rock Tomb. Yeah. Again, there's so many other ghosts. I don't know if you want to go down this far. Swalot. Swalot was one of them that I said has Sludge, which should be better. You know, I think as a straight... Like, its stat product is so nice. 104, 123, 168, so 2158 overall. I think just with the Poison being weak to Ground and Psychic, it's kind of tough in the meta that where Psychic just got buffed across the board here. Like with Pokemon with new access to Psywave and stuff. And Ground still everywhere. But it does resist Poison, Grass, Fighting, Fairy, and Bug. It's also because Mudshot got nerfed previous seasons, right? So you're not doing as much damage as... No, you're not doing as much energy as before. But you're still getting Stab Sludge at 10 So that's not bad. And coverage at 14. So to get to these moves is actually not bad. 10 and 14. Coverage move with Ice Beam and then Sledge. I think Swallow could have potential some play. We'll have to see what the meta shapes out to be. Electrode, Lickitung, Talonflame. So yeah, a little more water. So Talonflame's still at 88. Dugong. I think most people just probably default to Lapras now instead of Dugong. Credillia I thought could get a bit of a rise. I guess we already covered the non-shadow, which is higher. Frostlass, interesting. Frostlass at 96 is now saying to run Hex instead of Powder Snow. So with Hex, slightly better energy per turn. So you're getting to Avalanche or Triple Axle in 12, 9, 12. So that's pretty nice. And then Shadow Ball in 15, 12, 12. So that's okay. Frostlass is always a dominant limited cup, so it just becomes a slightly better limited cup Pokemon. Maybe it has some play in the open. Dunsparce. Dunsparce falling to 97. Yeah, so rollout nerf falling to 97. Mew buff because of Psyshock, but personally I'm not playing TM roulette to try and get Psyshock on this Pokemon, so if you want to, good luck. Someone said Fortress is gonna. I guess Fortress is buffed at 112, but now we're in the hundreds, so 102. Rock Tomb is buffed. Rock Tomb is buffed, but only slightly, right? It's still not a good damage per energy move, 1.6, and it's still 50 energy to get to. So I don't love it. It takes 16 turns to get to for not a great move. So it's buffed, but I don't think it's that fantastic. Licky Licky again. Rollout user nerfed. The Dragon's still pretty low. I'm just seeing if there's any other Pokemon down here. We'll check to see if Ultra Link and Ultra League and Master League are there. I said it was going to be a long video, so you guys are in for it, so it's fine. Umbreon, so Umbreon, interesting. Umbreon's down to 130, and they're saying that Foul Play is just so bad now, if you're assuming 40, that you just go Dark Pulse instead. And Dark Pulse is worse sims than Foul Play, so Umbreon is nerfed because of that. Mightyena is the other one I was looking at. Sucker Punch, Stab with it. So stat product, it's an ugly stat product. That attack isn't even good enough to offset your low defense and stamina. So I don't love the combo there. But Stab, Sucker Punch, like that's going to hurt. But then you're pretty slow to your moves, 12 and 14. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to have a lot of play. It could be fun, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of play. And that is basically it. We're at 150, and when you're at 150, these are borderline unusable Pokemon. So we'll do Ultra League and Master League, and then you know what? Tomorrow we will do a meta analysis. So this will be beyond the hype of the rankings, and then tomorrow we'll do a beyond like the meta expectation. So we'll go over the Ultra League and Master League rankings, and then we'll go tomorrow over what I think the meta will be like. Ultra League Grumpig as number 1. Holy smokes. It's an XL. 3, 14, 15 for a level 50. So it already, again, Psychic will play a little better in the Ultra League than it will in the Great League. And Shadow Ball and Dynamic Punch will also play better, I think, in the Ultra League. Although it'll play pretty good in the Great League too. So Grumpig. I don't even know if I have a Grumpig. Got to check that. Lapras, obviously, same thing. Up there. Dusknoir. Jellicent. So, look, it's just a modified Great League to a certain extent with your Ultra League staples, right? So, Grumpig, because Psywave and Dynamic Punch got buffed. Lapras, because it now has access to Psywave. Feraligatr, still Feraligatr. Dusknoir, because Dynamic Punch is buffed. Still have Giratina. Jellicent was always dominant, and now it has buffed Hex, so it becomes even more dominant. You still have your normal Steelix, Registeel, Galarian Weezing. Malamar was already up there last season. Drapion, your Cabalions and stuff like that. So you know, there's Blastoise down here at 32. So it's essentially going to be the Ultra League with these sort of broken, double buffed Pokemon. So that is basically the Ultra League. I'm sorry not covering much time on it, but we know people mostly care about the Great League only. Master League, I can't imagine anything's changing. The Kirums are the biggest change. If you are out grinding, good luck. Yeah, so nothing's changed there. So that is the new rankings. Let me just quickly check. I asked everyone if they wanted me to cover anything in particular. I am actually shooting earlier than I thought I would. So yeah, there's no comments on this. I feel like my posts are not being seen. People, like before, my posts used to be seen constantly, and now it's like can be up for hours with no likes or comments, and I don't know why. I feel like I'm being like YouTube algorithm out of the post here. Anyways, this is the rankings for the Great League. I can give you my initial thoughts. I'm going to put a little more thought into it and do it tomorrow. I'll do it today for tomorrow. A little more thought into what this means for the meta. Obviously, early risers with the Hex buff and coverage move for your ghosts. Your ghosts are seeing a huge rise. Because the ghosts are seeing a huge rise, Mandibuzz is now the top ranked Pokemon. Lapras with Psywave obviously becomes top meta. I think a lot of these Pokemon will still have play. Like Morpeko seems sexy to me now, even more so. I'm using it as I'm trying to hit Legend right now. But outside of Clodsire, you know how Morpeko, that's going to beat Mandibuzz, Lapras, resist the Psywave on Malamar, resist the Shadow Claw on Sableye, resist the Astonisher, resist the Psywave. So Malamar looks like a pretty nice Pokemon to me and fun to use. Claydol, again, I think Claydol, this will be one I have to test out. Jellicent, I think will be strong again. But otherwise, I think a lot of these other Pokemon that were strong before will still be strong. Azumarill, Primeape. Sludge on, like I said, Sludge on Galarian Weezing is a very, very good move. But your Jumpluffs, your Steelix, your Cordelias, your Annihilapes, your Guzzlords, your Marowaks, they're all still going to have the same play. So yes, you know, you got to think of it this way. The meta is going to be a lot of similar Pokemon from last season. More of these random Pokemon like Lapras and Grumpig, and less of the old staples like Dunsparce. And what else is less of? No, because I bet you even like Talonflame and Dugong that are down here at 90s will still have play. So it's got to be down at like 100 and something where that will have less play. But like less Licky Lickies, less Dunsparce. Like that's what the main difference is going to be. Even though with more ghosts, you think they're that's why they're still playing for normal typings with so many ghosts. So this is what I need to think about. This is just my train of thought. Yeah, so like Diggersby, Ferret, Linoone, Wiggly, they're still going to have play, even though your Dunsparce is down to 97, your Licky Licky's down here. Ghost obviously has a huge increase. Look how many ghosts are in the top 40 here. Sableye, Corsola, Dusclops, Dusknoir, Jellicent, Annihilate, Golurk, Spirit Bomb, right? So ghosts seem to increase. Ground is a weird one. You still have the top meta there. I guess ground is sort of similar. I'm trying to think. Where's grass in all this? Grass is still garbage. You still have your Jumpluff. Cordelia's jumped ahead with Rock Tomb over Superior. But really, there's probably just Jumpluff, Cordelia, and Superior as your main three grass. Bug, unfortunately, did not get those. Golisopod got a buff at Bug, but still, outside of Golisopod, you don't have many bugs. Fairy, Togetic, a couple more. Yeah, Fairy's got a little bit of buff, right? Togetic, Weezing, Ninetales. So Fairy got a little bit of buff. Now you're going to see my lack of knowledge of all the typings here. Let me just bring it up on my other screen so I can start bringing all these up. So Psychic. Okay, so a bunch of people. Well, yeah, so Psychic. A couple Psychic buffs in Grumpig. and Malamar and Claydol. So you got some psychics here. Steel. Let's see, Steel. Steel didn't get touched much. What's the implications of Steel here? Less rollout users, but some of those rollout users had Drill Run. So I feel like Steels are just kind of net neutral. I guess Steel does resist Psywave, which are on a couple Pokemon now. But so is the Dynamic Punch, which got buffed. So I think maybe it's net neutral. Fire. Yeah, I wanted to see more Fire buffs, but no, Fire's still garbage. Marowak is still using Fire Spin. Talonflame is probably your go-to. Oh, Skeledirge is going to get Blast Burn on the Community Day. So Skeledirge should jump up to the top ranking soon after that. Water, obviously Lapras got buffed. Jellicent got buffed. Golisopod got buffed. Blastoise got buffed. So, oh good. I'm so glad that after 22 seasons of Water dominating GBL that Water got even more benefit. Yeah, I only think there's 3 usable Electric Pokemon. Morpeko, Stunfisk, and Emolga. I think those are the only 3 that I would use here. I still like Charjabug, but I still think if you want coverage and moves, those are the electrics you want. Grass, like I said, got killed. Got nothing. Ice. Lapras is ice, but outside of that, not much change in ice. There's a lot of typings in GBL. Fighting. Your fighters are unchanged. They did not nerf Rage Fist. Medi goes up slightly because the Dynamic Punch got buffed. But outside of that, your fighters are looking just kind of normal here. Poison. Clodsire still in the top. Yeah, Weezing is the biggest one. Toxapex down at 50 seems low, and Drapion down 2. Swallow it up, though. It's interesting that Poison... Well, I guess I'm not surprised because Ghost resists Poison, and Ghosts, as we saw, there's like 9 of the top 45 Pokemon are Ghost. So it's not surprising that Poison, because of it, gets a net nerf. So this is basically what I'm going to be doing tomorrow with maybe a little more analysis of like what you're going to see. So Ground, yeah, Ground's is still pretty strong throughout the board here. Clodsire, Diggersby, Claydol, Gastrodon. Most of the like Diggersby, Gastrodon, they're not going to change how you play with them. Flying. Mandibuzz, yeah. Togetic got the buff because of Psyshock and Dazzling Gleam. Again, I'll need to check that, how it plays. And then Emolga with the Acrobatics and Discharge buff. Otherwise, it looks pretty similar. Bug, like I said, got nothing. Rock. Credilli up. Credilli is your new #1 rock Pokemon. I guess it because it has nice coverage. It's got that grass rock. So Rock Tomb now as a quicker move to get to. And Grass Knot's a really hard-hitting move and there's a lot of water. So I don't like how many weaknesses it has. It has, well, I guess it's only 4. I thought it was more than that. But Fighting and Ice, not bad actually. Credilli could be a sneaky one. The non-shadow recommended to use. So Credilli could be a sneaky one. Ghost, like I said, is just everywhere. Ghost is very dominant in this meta. Dragon, Dark, and Fairy. Dragon seems to be underrepresented. Yeah, Guzzlord. Guzzlord, actually, I really like running with Guzzlord. And Guzzlord now, with all the Darks and all the Ghosts in this meta, I think Guzzlord actually is a nice pick. I would not be surprised if I want to run on a team that I use Guzzlord. I really think it's going to have a lot of play. So I really like that ranking there. Dark, Mandibuzz, Malamar, Sableye. Yeah, so again, Spirit Bomb's kind of the weird one. And I don't know with 16 to get to the move for both of those. I don't know if I love that, but we'll have to test it out. And then Fairy, like I said, we've already done that one. Okay, so that is the meta. Abbreviated version. So we'll kind of go over that a bit more in depth tomorrow. Let me know if you watch this video to the ending. First of all, if you watch this video to the ending, thank you. That is great commitment. I appreciate it. Let me know how you want me to structure tomorrow's video. Let me know how you want me to structure tomorrow's video. If you want me to just do sort of like the top of each of these. So my initial thought is kind of do this, is bring up the typings, go over the top Pokemon of every typing and why they're the top Pokemon of the typing, and then say like, based on these top Pokemon in each typing, here's what I think the meta is going to be. So that's how I want to do it. But if you want anything else, let me know. Anyways, hope you're enjoying your Unova tour. Appreciate those of you who commented and watched this, and I will see you guys in the next one.